situational approach made the most sense to me as a leader. Since I deal with this every day, situational approach is dealing with everybody's different abilities and their readiness motivation. Some members on your team are less motivated but highly skilled. You have team members that are weaker in the skill but really motivated. Everybody has their own ability skill set and their own motivational style. Especially in the restaurant, I deal with this. I have hostesses who's never had a job before versus that are ready to and eager to learn and willingness to do the work. And then I have senior hostesses who've been doing this for a long period of time, but are less motivated. Same thing with servers. There's always a different skill set. So as a manager, you have to adapt our leadership style to fit each one of those situations. An employee who is less skilled than the next, it's taking the time coaching them, giving them the tools, and keeping them motivated to do the job when they don't have the skills, but giving them the ability to teach them versus giving direction to more veteran servers who have the skill set but need that motivation throughout the day. So that one made the most sense to me for between 3 and 4.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I felt the same way about that leadership approach, because it just depends on the setting you're in, but like depending on the person you're dealing with, it's like you either need to help motivate them or you need to help develop their skills, or if they're already developed in their skills and they're motivated, then maybe a little more of a hands-off approach and just let them work the way they want to work and give them that freedom. So yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it makes sense too. Not everyone is going to work the same, so you can't necessarily treat everyone the same or coach. So that approach works well for that, based on the different situations that you're confronted with. I guess we'll move on to the next one. I'll talk about the leadership style or approach that made the most sense to me is actually something that I'm dealing with at work just in the recent past, which was the leader-member exchange theory. It was under the relational approach. Some of the keys for that one were if the leader and the follower have a good working relationship, the employees are more likely to be more productive, be satisfied with their job. They're less likely to quit, and they're more committed to the organization. The supervisor that our team recently had, we were a team of 5. He was very challenging, very directive. He didn't have confidence in our ability, even though 4 of us had been doing the same job for 2 years, and 1 of us had been in that position for 8 years. And so it seemed like every time we did something, he was questioning us and challenging us, and our relationship with him was pretty poor compared to the supervisor we had previously. And so due to that, 3 of us have actually transferred out of his unit, and he's left to wonder why. And it's his relationship and his leadership style is very I guess didn't fit well with our unit. And so I think if we would have had a better relationship with him, we would all still be in that unit and working together well.
I think that's a good point. You're in that great relationship with somebody. You have to, when you build that bond, the more able they are, the more willingness they have to work for that leader, the more committed they are to the company, to the leader itself, because they want to see that leader succeed. So when you have that relationship or that bond, it's very important. So I do agree. I can see how that can play a part in your current situation.
Yeah, I think that it's a huge, of huge importance to have a good relationship with the person, your leader, your manager, your boss. Um, if you don't have that, then you're not going to want to work hard. You're not going to want to work for them. So yeah, I think that relationship and that bond is like crucial in any kind of working environment.
Okay. Who's We'll move on to the next topic. We're running at about 6 minutes left.
Okay. Well, I'll just go with mine real quick. I also felt that the situational approach was one of the better ones because I also work in a restaurant, so I'm not a manager role, but I see my managers do this a lot. With new people, they're more hands-on, they're more walking around with them, talking things out. Whereas an employee like me, I've been there for 2, 3 years. I have a pretty good grasp on how the job works and what doesn't work. And my managers see that and they know that. So they can let me kind of do my own thing and they trust me. So I really think that that's huge as a leader. You just have to adapt to the people that you're teaching or that are following you.
Yeah, I think it's good when leaders realize that and they do um, apply that situational leadership. Again, it's kind of difficult when you have different skills, different ways people work and learn, and if they try to implement the same coaching or leadership method on everyone, it may single people out. The ones that are doing their job like yourself that know what's going on, it's almost like a waste of time because they're just going over stuff that you've already covered. So again, I think the situational leadership approach, it seems like most of us are agreeing on that, is pretty much one that makes the most sense to us as a group.
I kind of took a different approach. I went with the functional approach to leadership, where it's the leader's behaviors. I kind of was looking at it at a different angle, where if you're kind of thrown into a situation as a leader and you kind of have to adapt, and you need to just be able to take initiative. And as the book states, like what happened with 9/11, a bunch of people who probably weren't leaders before that happened just came out and said, okay, you call 911, you do this, you do that. So I think it's important when you have like situations like those where a leader needs to come out and just lead, with your initiative and just go with your gut feeling.
Yeah, I mean, if functional leadership, definitely each person has to go with their feeling, go in that, go off of confidence, what they know, etc. I can see that as well. With the function knows what their role, and it's clearly defined in their leadership, as well as each member has a role in there and they know what they need to do to accomplish the common goal. And that's also important in functional leadership.
Yeah, I think just taking that initiative is very important too. Yeah.
Yes, not many people will step up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's not necessarily someone that is designated in that leadership role where, like the book talked about 9/11, where people just started doing things, they just innately started taking on roles, telling people to call 911. Some people were helping evacuate people from rooms. So that functional leadership approach, I think you can start developing that way before you're even, placed in a formal leadership role. It's something that I think one of the leadership styles that you can start to develop even before you're a leader. Like for you guys in the restaurant business, you guys, when you see the new people coming in and you see them struggling, and maybe it might be a busy time, you guys can step in and just start, you know, being a little bit authoritarian, you know, when it needs to be. So that, I mean, that's also a good approach to leadership. Um, any, I guess, parting thoughts? We got about a minute and a half. Um, as far as anything you guys saw that stood out in any of these approaches that you guys saw within yourself, I guess.
I would just comment kind of the same thing on the functional side. I view myself like at work and also just like in other situations. I kind of just naturally step into that kind of a role as a leader, and it's almost difficult for me to like step out of that role, like to give up some of that power. Not in like an authoritarian kind of way, but just I like to kind of be the one who has a handle on the situation, and I like to just step into that role a lot of the times.
I mean, that's a good trait to have. That's how I've done it. That's how I grew in the restaurant business, and that's how I became a manager. I was always the one that took control of the situation and stepped in as a leader, and I think that's a good trait to have as well.
Yeah, I think that trait works both in a business and personal life.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for me the functional approach as well. You know, sometimes, like I said, you have to, if people are struggling or people need help, you just have to step in and not be afraid to put yourself out there and you know, be the one that people come to, even though you're not necessarily the leader. But especially if you're in a leadership role, I think that's probably one of your jobs is to make sure that you do get involved with people when they need the help, when the situation calls for it.
Awesome.
All right, so
And that's it for
yeah, we're at time.